I imagined front doors opening. I imagined cupboards opening. And then when I had that vision and then it would go away, I was like, okay, what's next? Okay, car door opening, okay, briefcase opening, microwave opening, everything around the world was just like opening for me. And that's when like my body was opening. We took hypnobirthing to prepare. That was a big thing for us. I did a lot of listening to podcasts. The Birth Hour podcast is one of my favorites. And also the Mama Natural audio book. I listened to the whole thing. That was amazing. That's what we did.
I tried to download a few podcasts for dads, like becoming that. I don't remember any names that I could recommend. But I like talking to people and asking about their experience and to get more knowledge around that. And then we had the class.
Yeah, and just talking to people who went through natural birth experiences. So just someone that had a positive experience, because there's a lot of negative stuff out there. So I wanted to make sure I wasn't just getting horror stories.
We already also talked a lot.
Yeah.
That was something important, so that make sure that we are aligned with what we wanted, what she wanted, and that I agreed to it also.
Our due date, our guest date was June 20th, and I feel like labor started somewhere around June 24th. So it was a Monday morning. That weekend we had gone on our walks, and we really kind of found ourselves together as a couple and made sure that we were ready together. And I feel like after that weekend, that's when my body knew that we were ready. So Monday morning I woke up and I felt like a twinge in my side. It was my left side. I felt like kind of a sharp twinge. And I just remember thinking wow, this is different. It was the smallest feeling, but I felt it. And that day I was like, this could be it.
Yeah. You want to say something? And I was at work and she called me.
Yeah, I called him. Well, no, I started having kind of surges that afternoon. I had come back from a midwife appointment, and she did do a check on me because I asked her to, because it was a few days after when we were told to expect him, but I knew it was gonna kind of run late. Anyway, I came home and I took a nap, and when I woke up, I was having a surge, and it was one that I had to breathe through. I had Braxton Hicks for weeks, at least 12 weeks. So this surge was a little different. It was something to notice. And then, a few minutes went by, and then I had another one, and then another one, and I was like, wow, I think this is go time. So I called him, even though it was the first few surges.
Yeah.
I called him and we were excited, so he came home from work. And then that whole day,
we had prepared a few things to do just to make sure that we kept our mind busy and her mind busy. We prepared cookies to prepare and everything, and we didn't do any of that. We went to living spaces that we were looking at stuff,
we were
furniture, walking. We needed you to have breaks sometimes, so you stopped, and we called your aunt.
It was getting a little bit more intense, and my aunt, my doula, who is also my aunt, lives in about 35 minutes away. So we just kind of gave her an update and told her to just come whenever she, not anytime soon, because we wanted to just really take our time with everything. And then she got here, and we're all kind of excited, and maybe too excited.
A little bit too excited. We were almost ready. Okay, this is the day. We're gonna pop the champagne. This is the day. This is awesome. And we got a little bit too much excitement, maybe. And the surges actually started to slow down. And that's where I didn't really see it, but you were feeling it, and you extract yourself from the little group, and you went to the bedroom.
Well, just because the energy too, with hypnobirthing and with the techniques that I was doing to prepare, the meditation, just the really calm energy, that had sort of took on a different path, and it was just a little too much too soon. And so I left, I went to the bedroom, and I was just like, I needed to get kind of control of the environment again. So we just sent my aunt and my sister home for the day, and just wanted it to be back to connecting with Hugo and I. So after they left, the surges continued again. They got back on track, and I was excited again. And so this time they were getting more and more intense, and I think I lit some candles, and we turned the lights down, and evening was starting to come.
Put some incense, and you were on the birthing ball, just to do some movement, some sexy movement.
I did have a fellow sexy movement.
Yeah, I love it. I like your hip thing.
Yeah, I was getting loose. I had a felt board, and it was really important for me to use my affirmations. So I spelled out an affirmation that at that point I felt like I needed. I don't remember what exactly the affirmation was, but as time went on, it was getting more intense, and I took a bath. Did I take a bath?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
not at this point, just a shower.
Got in the shower,
and we called because you were reaching the 411.
You were staying close, and even though we didn't want to time our contractions, I remember being in the shower like, I'm having another one! I'm having a surge!
And I was using the app, and I was just monitoring everything, and sometimes when she gave me the signal, it's the surge or the surge stopped. And I remember, do you remember when I said, oh, that was a short and easy one?
Oh my god! Oh,
I shouldn't have said that.
No, that was are you what? What did you say? I think my head started spinning. I was like, you're not in my body, you don't know what I'm feeling. It was not easy, but yes, it was less intense. So they were kind of it was kind of like a wave. And then that night, 2 in the morning.
So we called, they told us, okay, get ready, you can pack. Hugo, you're not coming back to work tomorrow, because that's gonna be it. And so 2 hours later,
the midwife on call.
Yeah, at 2 a.m, we went there.
Yeah, we went to
the car ride was fun.
I hated being in the car. That's one thing that I wish we could have just stayed home, but since our hospital was 25-minute drive, we packed in and got going. And I knew I wasn't ready because I think I was even trying to pretend it was more intense than it was, just because, I don't know. I think we should have stayed home. We weren't dilated enough, so they did send us home. And I was just oh no, should have stayed home longer. So we got home and we slept through the night.
So you tried to sleep, you let me sleep for an hour or so, and they asked us to come at 3-4 hours later. We came back 4 hours later, or even 6, I don't remember.
Because I was vomiting at this point at home, and it was just so intense. I thought I had to go to the bathroom, but when I sat on the toilet, it came out the other way, and I couldn't stop, and it was just projectile, and it was just okay, I think we should go. And
pretty graphic.
just everywhere.
Yeah, so that's where I kind of panicked. Said, oh, at this point I couldn't really talk to you and engage a conversation with you. You just vomited. I was like, okay, we need to go. Not even time for cleaning. We just go. Yeah. And so the car ride, 45 miles per hour on the freeway, and she asked me to slow down.
Yeah, it was intense, the bumps and just the noises and everything. So I wanted him to go as slow as possible because for some reason I thought being in the car, and getting going there would slow down my surges again, and I would kind of regress. So I was really trying to stay in the same meditative energy and stuff.
T'es content?
And when we got to the hospital this time, I still wasn't dilated enough. But the midwife that was there was the one I wanted the whole time. I never got a chance to meet her, but by reading her profile and everything, I just knew that everything was happening the way it was supposed to. So once I saw her, I was like, yeah, go time. But I still wasn't ready, but they did let us stay in triage for
So that's the
a few
thing.
hours.
That's where I had to step in, and that's because they wouldn't accept us. They wouldn't accept us still. So we needed to. It was kind of a negotiation. Say, hey, what can we do now to make her stay? Because she wouldn't get back in the car. So we're thinking about options like getting a hotel room nearby for you to be able to take a bath or something. And as she vomited before, and she wouldn't eat, she wouldn't accept any food. So we were scared that she wouldn't have enough energy to go through it. So it's like, okay, tu veux raconter toi aussi? Hein? Tu racontes l'histoire? So she helped by giving fluids in order for you to get the vitamins and everything that you needed and to get back some energy and something against vomiting.
Yeah.
And I gave you a little bit of drowsiness or something and you fell asleep for 2 hours.
I think the peanut was there, and I was like, up until this point, I was allowing him to give back pressure and all of this good things that we learned from hypnobirthing. And then when I fell asleep, I think I was on the peanut, kind of like hanging over it. So I was allowing my belly to just hang, and then I think I fell asleep on my side or something. So I was just like taking my body into all of these different positions as I was transitioning and progressing. I wasn't even really thinking, maybe I should try this. It was just like instinctual, just to let my body get into all of these different positions.
And you finally got asleep. And we were with her aunt and our Lula, her aunt, when she finally went asleep, we were like, yes! Yes! We had so much, like, we're scared about you not having enough energy to go through it. So when you fell asleep, we're like, okay, that's my time to fall asleep too.
I was still having my surges while I was sleeping.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You stepped through it, and I just took a little bit of time myself to fall asleep to be able to support you later. And when you woke up,
I remember our midwife saying, okay, like, we're ready to go. You're right at that door. It worked. And she was just staring at me like this close, looking into my eyes like, it worked. And I just remember, like, am I dreaming? This can't be real. And like, I'm just staring at her like, I don't know, you know, like, how is it time? Because I don't know. But the time was right, everything happened how it was supposed to, and so I still was in disbelief, like there's no way. Just after being told like you're not ready, you're not ready, you're not ready for hours, and then like, okay, you're ready. I'm like, what? So I just stared at her. And I wasn't talking to anyone at this point. I couldn't formulate words. It was just like I wanted to talk, but I couldn't. And so we got up and we were making our way from the triage to actually go to the birthing center. And I could have kept walking. I think that was an option. Like, you can keep walking or we can just go to the birth center. And so I just remember walking. I don't even know if I knew where I was going, but I was walking somewhere. And then I had to stop because I had to vomit again. And it was all over the hallway. And
they remember us.
And I was like, okay, I think I'm just gonna go to the birthing center. So I was like, so we walked to the birthing center, and as soon as we got in, it was just like, yes, like this is the room I've been waiting to get into. And
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you're missing a part. When you vomited.
What happened?
You don't remember?
What?
When you touched it?
Okay, so yeah, I do remember. I still don't know if this was real or not. I know it was real, but when I was vomiting, because it was so intense, that strong push, that I did feel him coming out. But I remember her saying, you're ready to go, but it wasn't like you're ready to push. So I'm thinking, like, how did that just happen? Like, I just felt him. And I just remember kind of maybe saying that, like, I think I felt his head. And like,
You said it, yeah.
yeah. And so I was like, whoa. And so we got into the room and I was like, I want to go in the tub right now. I think I did say that too to the nurse. And she's like, okay, it's gonna take like 35 minutes to fill up the tub. So, just try to get comfortable or
You stay on the birthing ball, we kept massaging you.
yeah.
Different
I think
massaging techniques.
I snapped at you at this.
You snapped at me the whole way. No, that's not true. But some techniques, some massaging techniques that you liked at the beginning.
I remember because I couldn't talk and I was just like, and you're like, what? And you're like pushing on me harder. And I'm like, no! And I like, snapped your arm. I was like, don't judge me! And so I was like, I need to get in the tub. I got up and it wasn't ready yet, but I just jumped in. I just got in there. It wasn't as hot as I wanted. It was like 74. I was like, can you make it hotter? And she's like, well, we have to keep it at this temp because of the baby and stuff. But I kept asking, can you make it hotter? And she would like kind of turn it up like 1 degree. So we get in the tub and I think we put the meditations on from hypnobirthing and we were like really getting in sync again. I don't think you were touching me anymore, but you were pouring water on me and that felt really good. And we were just like head to head in the tub.
Yeah, you kept changing positions, but then at one moment you really had the urge to push. And that was pretty quick, starting from when you entered the bath.
Well, the surges were getting so intense that I was starting to kind of tense up before the surge would come. And my nurse was saying, just open, just breathe. And that was something that really resonated with me. So in the tub, when I had that first urge to push, I think I was sitting in the tub. And after that urge to push, I was shocked. I was like, wow, this is what everyone was talking about. Like, you don't have to have someone tell you to push, like your body is gonna push. And after that, I was like, whoa! And I flipped over, just instincts, I flipped over on my hands and knees, and I just waited, and I don't even think I told anyone like what was happening.
The nurse Agnieszka also helped you a lot.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you want to talk through that part, but every time you had this urge to push, your body were kind of like closing instead of opening, which is what would help, right? So
yeah. So when she said those words, open, and I remember that was part of my mantra during pregnancy, open, open, open. And I was like, that was like my word that she said that really kicked it into gear. Because at this point it was like, no more massages on my back, no more pouring water over me. None of that was gonna help. That was the word that really got me into my mind. And from that point on, I just imagined doors opening. I imagined front doors opening. I imagined cupboards opening. And then when I had that vision and then it would go away, I was like, okay, what's next? Okay, car door opening, okay, briefcase opening, microwave opening, everything around the world was just like opening for me. And that's when like my body was opening.
And you flipped into a position, like you flipped, and I was like right with you, and the nurse, she knew this was coming, so she kind of like, okay, I need to prepare some stuff, because everything went very fast.
Yeah.
So fast.
That was the magic word, I feel like. Open.
And from that, like everything triggered. I mean, you told me after, I didn't know, but and then you did like a lot of work yourself. Like you kind of almost delivered.
It was really just mind, because I didn't care who was around me. It was just like, I can do this. Like, there were so many videos that we watched of women doing it, and I just felt like, okay, I know I can do it. I know I have the power in me, so
I didn't call anyone to help me. The midwife wasn't even in the room. I just went into my mind to just let my body do all the work. And then after a few like cycles of surges, his head was in my hand, his whole head. And I could feel all of his hair and just holding it in my hand. And then I was like, okay, the hard work is done. Like, now I can just relax. And I just relaxed, and then his body just kind of tumbled out. And I just like was looking, like just seeing his body for the first time, seeing how big he was, like, and just a lot, like just absorbing everything. And then he was just floating there, just floating.
I wasn't out, nothing on your body or any specific movement or sound that you would make that would indicate us that he was already out. So I didn't.
You didn't even see him?
I didn't know that he was in the process of getting out, and suddenly I see his body in the water, and I was like, wow, he's here, and I was like, I went through so many different emotions, and that was like the relief part on my side, and I saw him, I was like, ah. And then
he started to have his little swim reflex, and that's what I was waiting for. Just trying to patient saw it, and then I pulled him up and onto my chest, and you were there behind me, and we were just there in our moment, the three of us for the first time. And maybe within a few minutes, like, I just think a swarm of nurses and midwives, whoever was on staff, swarmed into the room, but I was still just in this trance of us, and it felt like complete, and that was it.
And the midwife wasn't in the room when we delivered. Wasn't in the room because everything went so fast that, like, she wasn't even ready to come, and then she came after the fact.
Plus, I wasn't even being communicative with anyone, and I wasn't talking. I just was in the tub, like, making my noises, and
we had the nurse like looking with her iPhone with the lights, like, is he coming out? Is he coming out?
Yeah, and I thought everyone could see him coming, so I figured if I need to get up, then I'll get up. But I feel so good right now. I feel good here. I trust my body. I trust that he's healthy, and everything is gonna be how it should. So I just stayed there, and that's how he was born. Do hypnobirthing. I mean, I know every couple and mother is gonna have something that resonates with you, but whatever you feel like you need to do to be prepared, and the education, like, don't think twice about it. If you feel like there's a class that you want to do, whether it's hypnobirthing or something else, like, just take it, because you're only gonna be that much more prepared. You can never be too prepared, I think. And even postpartum, I think, be prepared for that part, because in my experience, after he was here, it was just like, okay, I'm done. But then there were certain things that I wish I would have been more prepared for after, and just taking those first few weeks to really get that connection as a family first, as your 3-person family.
And to be very tactic about it, how do you get prepared is through getting educated. Like, education is really important. Communication, like, to be really talk about anything that is coming in our mind, and anticipation, how it's going, like visualizing how it's going to be. That's these 3 things allowed us to be prepared. For the partner, something that was a really aha moment, and that was only possible because I was educated enough, was that when you were in the middle of, like, delivering and all your surgeries and you were not able to communicate, I needed to step up and take decision for the family, because you couldn't make any decision. And sometimes that's comfortable for, like, having you make the decision for us. And now that was the time that was, okay, I'm the dad of the family, and I need to take the decision for the family.
But
for
even
well-being.
hearing you kind of whispering out away from where I was, and just knowing how confident you were and how you were really just guiding the whole experience, put me in a really like at ease. You know, I could hear him like, okay, we're safe, like me and him, like we're good, we're in good hands. And that was helping me relax more, because if it was stressful out there and maybe if nurse was saying something to you that I knew I didn't want, but I can't even talk at this point, like that's just gonna make things, you know.
So because we were completely aligned with the birth plan,
Yeah.
and we didn't even have to talk to know what we wanted and the decision we will have to take,
Yeah.
then it was easy. It was easy to know and to guide through it.
Yeah. Just knowing that you were on my team.
Yeah, me too.
Captain.
Yeah, there's nothing new with you.
Yeah.